Nowadays, each time is more difficult to find the right club. If I go to have a meeting with the sport director who doesn't know me, we start wrong.
Why and how to invest in young players?
I'm not afraid to play a kid like Lenny Euro. The goal of Lille is to promote players. It's part of my job.
I changed the manager 1 month ago and we are really happy because I know how he works daily. Now I am more sure about why I hired him.
When you managed to hire Bielsa, you really took the football world by storm.
Try make the impact with the coach. I not can be a big success or a big fail.
You met with Paulo. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Normally these first interviews are really good. It's like a first date.
Was fast.
It's a big pleasure to introduce TransferRoom's CoachFinder. CoachFinder can help you solve your head coach challenges.
This is the things to try create model of decision more fair for the coaches, more fair for the clubs.
And I think this is amazing tool to prove what we are trying to convince the people.
Good morning. It's a pleasure for me to welcome everyone coming to the Portuguese Riviera. And we've got two high-level experts here with us today to speak about the process of hiring a head coach. Now, for me, as far as a football fan, for many years, the closest I ever got to that was actually through one of the partners of TransferRoom, that's Football Manager. Then working closer to the football industry, both as a journalist and now owning a communications agency and working with coaches and working with clubs and executives, I've got some insight into the process. And it's not simple. And from my perspective, I can say that something like this tool can really add a lot of important data to the market and add value to the work of coaches that many times can struggle to get their points across when it comes to having interviews. So with that said, I'm delighted to present the head coach of LOSC Lille, Paulo Fonseca, and also the sporting director of Sevilla, Victor Orta. Please welcome them on stage. In the presentation that Frederick just shared a few moments ago, what really, I think, struck a chord here is the amount of time that a manager stays in a position, right? Less than 8 months is absolutely crazy. How can you do anything in that amount of time? Victor, my first question has to be for you. As a sporting director, how difficult is that decision? And what are the challenges that you have in making sure that you don't make a mistake, which many times can be a costly mistake, right?
It's a good question. Today that I changed the manager 1 month ago and started nervous with the new one, no? And when I told today with my board, it's like more time to buy time. Buy time for Bill. Buy time for the fans to try to explain that the process are not easy. You know, one thing that I am absolutely scared now, it's about even our role like a sporting director. It's going to be really reduced. I have any mates that in Spain perhaps make only 1 season or 1 season and a half like a sporting director. And there, if you cannot change a lot from our role, how you can create the patience for the board and the fans to hire a coach and to try to create the environment for make this successful. Because in the end, I always think that the director of football, we are to serve the coach. We need to try and reach the work of the head coach. We need to try provide the best tool for success. But obviously, it's not easy to change in 1 month, 2 months, in a pre-season, in 6 months, no? Looks like 2 good examples of patience that I want to highlight. And it's really clear that was successful for the clubs is the recent situation with Arteta in the first 2 months in Arsenal, or Xabi Alonso in the first 2 months in Bayer Leverkusen. How these clubs have the enough patience to believe and build, forget the result that they are getting now. And it's one of the examples that we need to try educate. And I know that I am here to win. It's stupid, don't say that. But try educate the environments and to try explain what is behind the results and what is the process. That obviously is not easy, but it's a good ideal and challenge that, like director of football, I need to afford every day.
You already brought up some interesting points, and I'll pick up on that in a little bit. You mentioned the fact that you hired a coach recently, and I want to know more about that process. Paulo, when it comes to a head coach at elite level, what are the challenges of finding the right club and knowing when you can go into a club and feel confident that they want you and you have time to work?
Good morning. I think in our days, each time is more difficult to find the right club. We have so many amazing coaches, and each time is more difficult. But the main thing is to understand if the people who are trying to find the coach believe in you. And for me, the most important is when I feel the people who are try to find the coach and speak with me, he believe in me, he believe in my ideas, and he believe I can change something. And to have this feeling, for me, is really important.
Makes sense. It's interesting. I don't know how many of you know this, but Paulo and Victor already know each other personally before this event, because Victor, I'll let you tell the story, but you met with Paulo when you were looking at options to replace Marcelo Bielsa, I believe, at the time?
Yes.
How did that meeting happen? And tell us a little bit more about that.
No, it was, to be honest, a really good meeting. That one of the first things that when you met Paulo, it's how level of quality of person he is. And for me, it's really important that, because obviously it's really important all about the technical side, about the knowledge, about the coaching capabilities, about the leadership, about the group management, about the language skills, about how he can work during the week, how he can adjust during the game. But he said the same, and it's through any emotion that, because you need to link like a director of football and head coach, like emotional side, no? And we shared a really good conversation, was really productive. But it's this kind of thing that perhaps one of the good things about the tool of TransferRoom is can be helpful, because it was not enough. I think it was 1 hour and a half, and and I think was how many times you can try know a person that you are going to work, no? And then when I discussed with the people of TransferRoom about the tool, I think 2 months ago, that they asked me my opinion about the tool, I say it's really useful. Not really useful for the objective content that can be the stats, the score, about that. It's about even the head coaches can perhaps upload any documents about how they work. Why not allow any training sessions that more times how you can look at training session of a coach. If you have a friend, and perhaps he can give to you in secret that I made, that he can give you in secret, hey, please don't tell me that I give you that. And for trying to know more about that. Because I discussed with him before of this panel, at the end, more of our information that we receive, normally these first interviews are really good. It's like a first date. And the first day you try look that your club is amazing, your chairman is amazing, your fans are amazing, the city is amazing. Now in Seville it's more easy than perhaps from Leeds, but you need to try that. And the coach say, I am a really work commitment, I am really good with the players, I am a really good leader. It's normal because you try impress. And then after these meetings, normally you need to take another opinion from a player that he trained, or another director that worked with him. And more time, this opinion, obviously, are subjective. Because if you call a player that played for him a lot of time, wow, what a good coach, it's amazing, or there. And if perhaps you call, why not? You have a Spanish player that I know and don't play a lot with him, it's horrible because he never there. And this is not
credible process, right?
Obviously. And this is the things to try create a model of decision more fair for the coaches, more fair for the clubs, and with more information will be really useful.
How was the meeting for you, Paulo, at the time?
Was fast.
Fast first date.
Yeah. Honestly, we didn't spoke we didn't speak too much in this day. You show me more about your club, in that time Leeds, about the facilities, the philosophy of the club, the culture of the club, even the city. It was more about this.
Victor, you obviously were talking about Leeds and succeeding Marcelo Bielsa, but I think it'd be pretty fair to say that when you managed to hire Bielsa, you really took the football world by storm, taking a coach like that with that kind of history to the championship. Tell us about that process.
I detected my first year when we are with, by the way, two really good coaches, Thomas Christensen and Paul Higginbotham. Paul Higginbotham promoted with Sheffield United, and Thomas is making really well now with Panama national team. That the pressure of the shoulder of Leeds fans was not realistic in terms of like we are. I remember that we are in December in the third position with Thomas, and I was on the street, we are going promoted this year, we are going promoting this year. Wow, we are the 16th budget in the league. Why this pressure to try manage that, no? And then we make a second part of the season not really good, and then I remember that, you know him very well, I discussed with Andrea Radriciani, the owner, what is the philosophy of the club? Because he told me in the start, like director of football, no, I want a 5 years club, bring young talent, sell players, and the third, fourth, 5 year promote it. And I say, Andrea, you need to sell Leeds United and buy Luton or Brentford or other club, because the club have another historic pressure behind.
Yeah.
And they are not going to understand that we need to wait a gyrate growth or the young players that we bring the first year, because it's another philosophy. And then I say, well, what we need to do? Say, obviously, we cannot spend in players, like, by example, the relegating teams with the parachute payments. We need to try make a big figure with a big head coach. And then was a brainstorming, and we talk a lot about that. And like you said in the presentation of before, Frederick, try make the impact with the coach that it's more easy for us that try invest in 5 top players, because we cannot afford that, no? And then we decide Marcelo, and obviously I remember perfect my feeling, because I know him. I try in Seville when I was head of recruitment with Monchi, and in Zenit, and I know a lot of things about him. I have good conversation. I not can be a big success or a big fail. I feel that was not in the middle, no? And there at the end was successful, and I was a good part, but
did you contact him directly? Did you contact an agent? Directly?
No, Marcelo doesn't have an agent because it's a special. I contact him direct, and I remember perfectly. Andrea talking a lot of times that I leave a voice message, and when he backed me the voice message, I think 2 days later, he watched 10 games of Leeds United and started to tell me about the team more than I know in a moment. And it was this kind of things. And was for me this situation, and again I am going to use the presentation of Frederick, like how you can go to the topics. No, they say no, you need a experienced championship league coach that speak English, and we promoted with the opposite. And there are more times how you can find the success in a coach. It's really difficult to get the right answer.
Paulo, you've won 9 trophies in your career so far, 2 in Portugal with Braga and Porto, 7 in the Ukraine with Shakhtar. You've played Champions League. You've had experience now with Serie A as well with Roma, in Liga with Lille. The last 2 projects, I think it'd be pretty fair to say that they were in transition. The first because Roma was in the process of being sold. The second because the club was in the process of trying to achieve financial stability. So you had to do a lot with a little. But you had the pressure of clubs that are used to winning as well. And Marcelo was talking about Leeds and Roma. The expectations are super high, right, from the fans, regardless of what's the reality. And in Lille as well, you came just a couple of years after the title, when most of the team had been sold. When you look at coming into a club, how much time do you think you have to impose your style, your philosophy? And what do you tell the ownership or the sporting director of the players of how you want to play?
So depends depends of the clubs, depends of the countries, but I think we don't need so many time for to see our ideas in the pitch. First of all, you have to convince the owners your ideas are the right ideas for the club, for the goals of the club. I know the results are the most important, but for me, the process is also so important like the results. And for me, it's very important the people working with me, the sport directors, the owners, to be involved and to know the process. So I think in few time you already can see your ideas, your game, the players making what you want to make, and I think you don't need many time. If you convince the players this is the right way, this is the right process, I think with few time you can start to see the team play the way you want.
And how would you describe your philosophy, and what is the key message that you try to give to the players?
Look, for me, like I said, the process is important. For me, it's not just about to win. It's about the way to win, the way to play. And for me, maybe I'm a little romantic, but I'm a coach who like to dominate the games. I'm a coach who wants to be installed in the offensive midfield. I want to have a team who create all the time chance for to score. Okay, when you have a meeting, when we have a meeting with the sport directors, this is easy to say. This is easy to say, but with this, you can prove, you can see the data, and you cannot say, "Look, I'm a coach who dominate games," but after the data show the opposite. And I think this is an amazing tool to prove what we are trying to convince the people.
What is a good interview like? What does a good interview for you look like? Like, what are you expecting to see from a coach? Does he bring video? Does he bring stats? Does he not? Like, what do you want to see?
I like a coach prepare a presentation. At the end, when I evaluate a coach, first is coaching capabilities, how is more or less your plan during the week, how is your methodology, how you can detect the work commitment, how is your, by example, idea about rival analysis, how you can evaluate yourself, adjust with substitutes during the game. No? More times my first quote and comment to the coach say, "Hey, told good about you." Because be brave, told very good about you, because it's not, that doesn't matter, this meeting, it don't have importance. Then obviously the way of leadership, group management, communication style, language skills. Now for me, in the past I don't give importance to that, and now I am thinking that we need to know more about the staff around the head coach. We need to, because obviously it's people that trust, but this kind of people that trust can talk a lot about the head coach that you are interviewing. Then, for me, knowledge of the squad is relevant. Is decisive? No, but it's relevant. Knowledge of the league is decisive? No, but it's relevant. And more or less try detect it in this conversation, all of these ticks for create your own opinion. But at the end, like we discussed before, normally are really good always, and then you need more for be more sure about your decision, no? And then perhaps this kind of tools is helping us, because normally in the past I said to my big data department, create this kind of profiles, of portfolios to try identify coaches, no? And try after that create our own opinion from the formal way, personal way, no? But now with this tool, obviously, we'll be more updated around what is coaching around the world.
Data is important to you. Go ahead, Paulo. Sorry.
Let me just say one thing. Victor spoke about the presentation. I think every coach today
I have bad experience, Paulo. Eh?
But what I want to say for me is important. I think today, as sport director, when you have a meeting with the coach, you already know almost everything about the
Paulo, I have bad experience.
coach.
I have a coach that
But
arrives
for
say,
me-
"What is your blonde number 10? Like a small blonde." I have experience
But
like that.
what I want to say is, my presentation is also important to know if you know me.
I agree.
Because if I go to have a meeting with the sport director who doesn't know me, who doesn't know my ideas, for me it's a little difficult. We start wrong. For me, in the past, when we start, it's important to get the job. It's important. But with experience, we start to think it's not just important to get the job. It's important to work with people who believe in you and know you very, very well. And this is important also when you have a presentation and you present to the sport directors.
No, it's true. It's like, imagine that I am trying find a coach like play more defensive because I feel the squad is designed, and I call you. I am stupid because there I am making bad my job because it's not the style that you are. Because at the end, the director of football and the scouting department, one of the things that we watch a lot of football. In Seville, perhaps we watch around 60, 70 games live per weekend, and there more times I find this information with a scout or head of recruitment to say, what is the style of this coach? What is the style of this coach? This is the proper knowledge too, no? And at the end, one of the characteristics that you say that I absolutely agree that is in your curriculum, and it's really, really a good comment for you, that you get a lot of results without a lot of resource. And this is another thing that, like a director of football for me, is alert. Like, wow, this coach in second division in Spain with no big budget, fighting for promotion. This coach, things like that, for me is a big alarm about that.
What is the importance of data for you? And in these presentations, what kind of data do you try to show? And is it done through videos, through graphs or numbers? How do you?
Yes, I try to show everything with the image, with the data. It's like I said, I cannot show an image because it's very easy. You find, if you are a defensive coach, but in the middle of so many images, you find one or two where you press high.
And you make a good
and
combination.
you put these two images,
The build-up.
and you will say, no, I'm a coach who press all the time high. But after, the numbers show the opposite. And I think it's very important to prove with the data, with the numbers, what we are speaking, what we are defending from our ideas.
And something that's been a trademark from you, Paulo, in different clubs that you've been at has been your investment in youth, right? You gave Diogo Jota his first chance when he was still here, Passos Ferreira in Portugal. Mikhailo Mudryk played for the first time with you. At Roma, you had Riccardo Calafiori, the left back, I think. At Shakhtar, obviously, you had Fred when he was very young and young Ukrainian players. Now at Lille, you've got Chevalier, you've got Yoro, a 17-year-old. You had Carlos Baleba, who just went to Brighton recently. Why and how did you decide the moment to invest in young players?
I had luck. No. For me, the players don't have age, they have talent, they have performance, and I'm not afraid to play a kid with 16 like was now with Lenny Yoro. But I have to understand also the goals of the club, and in some clubs, the goal is to promote players. And in this situation in Lille, the owners spoke with me about the truth. We want to build a way to play, offensive way to play, but we want also to promote players. So I know the goal of Lille is not to be champion. The goal of Lille is to create a way to play to attract the supporters and to promote players. It's part of my job because no one lied to me. No one lied to me. They said the truth, and it's what I'm doing to try to promote the players because it's important also for the club.
Victor, you mentioned earlier, obviously, that you recently hired a new coach at Sevilla. Tell us about that process and how you went about finding someone. And Frederick mentioned this in his presentation. Time was of the essence, right? Mid-season, the last thing you have is time.
Yes. First of all, it's try recover information about coaches available. Why? Because if you want short the time, if a coach with contract, normally it's a mess. It's difficult, or perhaps have exit clause of that. Last season, when we changed in Leeds United, we tried 2 coaches with contract and it was not easy. Because at the end, you choose coaches with good results. Obviously, the other teams say, come on, pay or not pay, but more times even the money is not enough because like Frederick said, how is the value of lose a coach in mid of the season? I understood both positions last season. And now there we decide need to be available coaches, no? And what's really curious, no, is like more times how things happen in your life, no? That I was watching games in South America, Argentina and Uruguay, and I am watching the Clásico, Peñarol Nacional, and after one meeting, I met Diego when he was player still for Peñarol in a dinner, like, to be honest, coincidence, no? And then he started to talk about football and was a big impact for me because it's talking like a coach and still was a player. And I said, wow, this really worked because normally you feel that the players still decide to be coach, no? And then he told me this night a quote that was in my mind really strong. Like say, I want to be a player because it was the vehicle to be a coach. You say, you are told me with 24 years old, you start to thinking be a coach. You say, yes. It's strange. You are playing top teams, Valencia, you play in Malaga, you play Racing. Yes, I always feel with 22, 23, 24 that be a coach. And was one thing that is not really usual to listen, no? Because more times you feel the other mates said to the players, he will be a coach, he will be a coach. But you yourself say to you, it's a strong. And then obviously, take me a big curiosity to follow his career. And then when he take the first job in Bella Vista, a team fighting for relegation in Uruguay, I think it's 8 games, 9 games, he need to win 5 for safe. And I think in the last 20, they win only 2, and he won 6, and then go to Paraguay with success, near to win with Guarani the trophy there, and then Mexico with the CONCACAF Champions League with 2 different teams. That is a tough tournament. The experience in MLS was not really good, but it's a team new created, like Inter Miami was difficult, I think, for all the coaches. And then the big situation with Uruguay, that all the people is really unfair because remember the fail in the World Cup, but he arrived with 4 games and they need to take 9 points to qualify. That was in this moment really difficult. And they won 12, and there, you know, the fine margins that Hee-chan scored for Korea in the injury time is not they qualify for 8 finals, and nobody knows, no? And there was this curiosity about, and I make a presentation with candidates, with the board, and explain my idea about that. There we make them finish for 3. We make 3 interviews, and obviously I involve the board, the chairman, and the vice chairman because it's like say it's really easy to talk about the money of the others. No? You need to involve them, and we decide him, and I'm going to say we are really happy. I'm going to say now with the results is not arriving because I know the results is arriving because I know how he works daily. I know how he prepared the games daily. I know what squad he found to try improve, and I trust more now. Now I don't regret the decision even after 1 month without 1 win because now it's a lot of people listen to me and perhaps in 2 months I am wrong or perhaps I am right because now still I am more sure about why I hired him.
Paulo, how does it work when people are contacting you for a job? Like, how do you find out about opportunities in the market normally?
Naturally, it's with my agent.
Okay.
In the beginning, I'm not involved in this process, and he's my agent to management the first meeting. But when we have some contacts, some offers, I all the time saying to my agent, and he know me very well. He's my brother. It's not about just what the clubs want. It's also what I want. And I think in these moments, in this moment, we have to be very honest with yourself and with the clubs, because sometimes you feel also you are not the right man for this moment, for this club, and you have to feel. And happen sometimes with me. I felt I would like, but it's not the right moment. It's not the right project for me. For many reasons. Maybe I feel because the team play in some way, and I feel I don't have time, or I don't have maybe the players to play my game, because this is very important for me to play my game, and we have to be very honest, but start all the time with my agent.
And how important is the relationship between sporting director and coach?
For me, yes, it's really important. The sport director should be involved in our process. Must to know everything. Must to know everything for understand the process. This is crucial, fundamental for me.
I have a big fight with mates about that. It's like two schools, no? It's the school that is going daily to the training ground, watch all the trainers there. I am not in this school. This is, I don't think I am right or they are wrong. This is only my opinion. For me, for go daily to the training ground, you can create a debate of leadership, okay? Because the players are clever and it's look there. This is the first thing. Second, if I need to evaluate the methodology of a coach that I hire, evaluating the training methods, wow, big mistake. You don't know before, like he said. Third, imagine that we are discussion and we are said, why is not playing this player was a big investment, and the coach told me, no, Victor is not training really well. I tried there. I need to trust him about his opinion. I don't need to try evaluate that. And then for me, I always have, and I can have daily communication with my head coach, not to be, I need to protect my head coach on the pitch and the training ground, that he's the leader in the technical side. For me, the sporting directors need to provide answers, no questions. I am not the sporting director that the Friday say, what is the lineup? If the head coach wants to share with me because he feels comfortable there, I am not the sporting director that say, why this player play more or play less? If the head coach told me, Victor, next game, right back, Juanlu or Jesus Navas, what is your opinion? And he asked me for the opinion, I provide the answer. I don't need to provide the question. Even for a lot of reasons, because in a moment I feel I need to check him. I need to check him because it's his decisions, no the club trying involved. I know in other countries like Italy, the director of football, or even Germany that is on the bench, is more involved in these kind of things. And I think I need to provide all the resources, like I said before, to the head coach to the success. And when I appear to the training ground, wow, my leadership it's important because the players say, whoa, what's going on? Is Victor here? Important training, things like that. Then I reinforce more the figure of the power and leadership of the head coach. And in another thing that is really important, when the players knock my door, that, like I say, I try to make the perfect long distance so far, so close with the players, I always make the same question. You want to talk with me? Yes. It's personal or professional? It's personal, okay? Victor, I need advance any money because I have any travels out there. Perfect. Perhaps I don't share with the coach if I don't think it's relevant. But if it's professional, I always say the same to all the players. You need to know that this conversation I am going to share completely with the head coach. normally who knock the door. I am not playing. The head coach doesn't like me. I am going there. It's the usual. Nobody's going to knock the door to say, I am really happy. But I share the conversation because I try evaluate the player of that. And I try always keep the leadership of the head coach in the technical side. Because what is the big risk in a director of football? Convert like assistant. Don't be director of football, be assistant of the coach. Stay daily there, talking about all, talking about the rival, and then when I arrive to make a big message to my head coach, it's because I consider relevant, and he take really important that, say, hey, Victor told me about that, contract situation, that obviously they cannot be involved. We are discussing the renewal of this young player. Be careful, because still it's not renewed, it's free, things like that, that he needs to know for his daily basis. But we, like director of football, my opinion, and I know that is another director of football that is strong against that, I think we cannot try be assistant. We need to be director of football.
We do actually have a couple of questions that we got on social media. One for Victor from Salvatore Simeone. How do you identify whether a head coach fits into your culture?
First of all, like Paulo say, try know the coach. Try know when, by example, imagine a practical example. A coach that works in Rome can understand the pressure to work in Seville because, things like that, it's like try know about the culture. He told about the young player. For me, obviously, it's relevant. The academy of Seville is a good product range. How many coaches know? Like he said, no, I always play with youngsters. No, it's the most average squad with you the last, or things like that. Try have a proper knowledge of the coach before. And then I am really lucky because I worked before 7 years in Seville, and now in my second period of that, I know clearly the philosophy of the club. But if, by example, in Leeds, that I was new there, I was 1 year reading storybooks of Leeds United, talking with ex-players, talking with legends, talking with ex-coaches, talking with fans, talking with journalists, to try first me know what is the club, to try identify can be matched, not only the head coach, even players there. And for me, this is a massive step for your knowledge like director of football, because it's not, if you don't know before how you can identify coach, player, or people for work with you in any club in the world.
Paulo, we talked a little bit about data and the importance of data, and obviously this tool from CoachFinder will help more data be available to everyone. How much, for example, when you get to a new club, how much do you look at the data that was there before to help your decision? Or do you say, I'm going to learn with my eyes and my analysis? How does that work?
No, your eyes are the most important, but I think if you can prove with the data what you are saying is really, really important. Because you have to see a lot, you have to understand a lot. When I have some meeting with some sport director, I try to know everything about the club. I try to know in the perfect way what's happened in the last season, okay. And the data is really, really important. You can make the mistake just to see 1 or 2 games, and after you don't know nothing about the team. I think is really important.
And just kind of like to wrap up the conversation, Victor, with the data being available and a tool that also tells you a prediction of how much a coach can fit into your club, what kind of numbers are you going to be looking at?
Points average is really good. Obviously.
Points average?
Is really good. No, I am joking. Now for me is the challenge, like where to detect it and what you want, and even what squad you have. Like perhaps you don't have a squad for make high pressure, and the philosophy of the coach is high pressure, and then perhaps you have a squad for half passing game because you have very good build up, from back, or even you don't have a goalkeeper with a really good distribution, and the coach won there, and perhaps you need one market or two markets to try adapt the head coach to your squad. That can be a good discussion. I like you, but I need one market or two markets to try adapt the squad for you. Then, obviously, the data is really useful. No? For me, the data gives you the objective point, that is, nothing can discuss. But you need to put in your decisions a subjective point. Obviously, you need the data for the decision and for things really objective. But I think you need I don't know the word is
connection.
Intuition.
Yeah.
Intuition, the feeling, how you can predict the success with the coach with you, no? And this is anything special, and it's difficult to explain, because I think it's all in our roles. We need to take this mix, not only the data, not only the intuition, try to create a mixed model.
Gentlemen, I really wanted to thank you in the name of TransferRoom for coming over to Portugal and having this conversation. Both of you had matches yesterday. Both of you got up very, very early this morning, 3:30 and 2:30 in the morning. So it's fantastic to have an opportunity to speak with you here. Congratulations on your career so far, and best of luck moving forward. Victor Orta, Paulo Fonseca, thank you very much.
Thank you.